In today's video, we'll show you how we went from this to this to this. Stick around, it's going to be pretty cool. Hi, I'm Mike, and I like to know how things work and how to fix it when things need fixing. I've always been a DIY kind of guy, and I don't shy away from physical labor, but there's a time and a place when you bring in the experts. In my last video, we saw how fast a professional crew can break down and move a grand piano. In today's video, you'll see some heavy equipment and fantastic choreography as we take out trees from a seemingly impossible location. So here's the story, which actually started last spring. Across the street from us, there's a row of huge pine trees that used to flank the main driveway when this land was a farm. I spent my morning watching a guy with a chainsaw get hoisted into the top of these trees by a crane. And then the tree was disassembled in sections and neatly lifted down. I was awed by the control and mesmerized watching the crane operator and workmen coordinate together. I've had trees taken down in the past, but never one so large or so hard to get to that it required heavy equipment. A chainsaw in the hands of an expert can be quite interesting to behold. This is a sugar gum tree that we took down several years ago with a chainsaw and a chipper. Apart from some rakes and ropes, this seems to be everything that was needed to take it down cleanly. But there are some jobs that require bigger equipment and lots more planning. Real quick, before we jump to the action shots, please take a moment to poke that like button and to feed the YouTube algorithm. If you aren't a subscriber already, please click that subscribe button, then click the bell and select all to turn on notifications. If you're not completely satisfied, I'll give you double your money back, so what are you waiting for? For several years, I've wanted to remove a huge pin oak tree that's been looming close to my house. The oak is dangerously near my roof and casts much of my backyard in shade by mid-afternoon. Just want to give you an idea of how huge this tree is. You have to come down quite a ways before you start seeing the house. So far so good, it's been growing nice and straight, but it is just looming above my roof. And if this thing ever goes down, it goes down in that direction, then there is going to be all kinds of havoc. What do you think about all this, Zoe? I also have an ash tree, which fell victim to the emerald ash borer, a beetle originating in Asia that came to the US in 2002, which has decimated the ash tree population in much of eastern and central United States and Canada. I've been holding off taking down the tree for several years, hoping it would simply get better. As you can see here, in early spring everything else is green, and this season there's not a single live leaf on the ash. I got several quotes to take down both trees, and the prices varied by a pretty big amount, between $3,500 and $8,000. If you're watching this video and considering having some trees taken down, get several quotes and ask the contractors what their plans are for taking down the trees, how they're going to gain access, and what they're going to do to protect your house and your property.
I love it. LiftBigStuff.com. We are going to do some tree work today. That puppy is coming down.
They don't call it heavy equipment for no reason. It's heavy, so it's important to protect the ground where you are working. Putting down boards is low tech, but it did the trick. Here's a good close-up of the crane. Notice the letter and number index marks so you can remember your settings. The process is relatively straightforward.
Jim, my trusted tree guy, attaches the limb being cut via heavy flexible straps. The crane applies upward pressure, relieving the weight of the limb or trunk so the tree can be cut and the limb can be removed. Cut limbs are moved to a staging area, where they are broken down. The smaller pieces get chipped, leaving just the largest of logs, which will be picked up when the job is finished. Make sure you stay till the end of the video to see the specialized log collection rig and operator. It is amazing. If you're planning a tree removal project, one of the things you might want to consider is how taking down the trees affects your view. Trees definitely add privacy to a home, and taking down a big tree can make a huge difference, not only for you looking out, but for other people looking in. Fortunately for us, this tree project really didn't affect our privacy, but it did let in a whole lot more sunshine.
Wow, it's a big tree.
Here's a nice shot of the ball on the crane next to a person for scale. Taking down a tree using a crane requires a considerable amount of forethought, especially when it comes to how the straps are attached to the piece being removed. We were fortunate to be working with Jim and a very skilled crane operator. Not only were the straps attached in a way to keep the branch vertical when it was being moved, but it was also positioned in a way that it would balance once the smaller branches were removed. While relatively tiny, this Ditch Witch skid steer is an invaluable part of the process.
And there it goes.
With the ash tree out of the way, we move on to the real challenge, the oak tree next to the house. The bucket truck was moved forward and the crane was pulled up onto the lawn. The closer you are to what you're lifting, the better leverage you will have.
Wait for it.
Being in the house and knowing that these huge pieces of tree were passing over your roof was somewhat terrifying. I should add that these trees were done on a day that was relatively windy.
It's spinning.
Even though my team made it look easy, there were so many calculations and decisions being made throughout the process that I can't begin to comprehend. Even with the bucket fully extended, Jim couldn't get nearly high enough as he needed to be. That's when you strap on a harness and ask the crane operator for a ride. beds. All right, nice and gentle. It's the next day, and the birds are tweeting. They don't seem to miss their tree. That is a lot of wood. And I'm guessing that that's the ash. That is a chunk of wood. And here's the oak. This is how big these logs are. These are some big pieces of wood. Huge. All right. Nice and sunny back here now.
Wow, he did a really smooth job with that stump. I almost feel like leaving it as a foundation.
Look how big this tree was. There's my 10.5s. There's the stump.
I wouldn't exactly call this a DIY project, but maybe now that you've seen how it works, you'll be better prepared to find a contractor and manage your next big tree project. If you don't have trees that need to be cut, I hope you enjoyed seeing it done as much as I did. I'm Mike, the channel is Mike Fixed It. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and feel free to share your big tree stories if you've got them. Be good, be well, and be safe, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.
I fixed it.